Appoggiatura. My name is Benjamin Garbaggio, and welcome to the Violin Bathroom Tutor. This will be session 1, where we focus on violin posture and proper holding of the violin. So, violin stance. You want to make sure that your feet are shoulder width apart and fairly comfortable. You don't want your legs to be too straight with your knees kind of just total lines. We also don't want too much, bend, so you're bouncing around. Kind of happy medium, an athletic shoulder width stance with your feet pointing outwards comfortably. When it comes to the rest of your body, you want your shoulders to be straight, your back straight, and kind of stand comfortably with your neck raised up. This will be kind of consistent. This is the consistent body that you want in playing. You don't want much switching around.
Now, in actually holding the violin up to your neck, you want to make sure that initially, or throughout, you have the exact same posture you had before you ever put the violin up to your neck. So that being the relaxed shoulders, the neck straight up, feet shoulder width apart, back straight, and the neck straight. A big step, an important step to getting the violin to you is to make sure that you're not going to the violin, right? So that things aren't, bent in uncomfortable or radical angles. What you want to do is make sure that the violin comes to you. So if I'm standing straight like this, I want the violin with the shoulder rest and chin strap to come right kind of comfortably with the shoulder rest around my collarbone area and my jaw actually on my chin strap, though it's called a chin strap. We want kind of this curve of our jaw to rest there comfortably. Now, whenever you're playing violin, you want to make sure that your body isn't kind of moving towards the violin. So if I'm, putting the violin right here, I don't want to somehow put my head here and turn my body to face where the violin is pointing, kind of like that. I would want to stand straight and then have the violin come at this angle, and keep everything as stable as it was before. The feet, the shoulders, the neck, and just have it kind of comfortably sit there. To get this comfortable with children or extreme beginners, you could have them hold the violin with their right hand so that this hand is free, and then have it plop down right onto the fingerboard. So you'll ask them to raise their hand up and then kind of fall down. And then you can pull down and see if there's some kind of resistance. If there is resistance, meaning that there is a holding of the violin from the chin and the collarbone, that means that they are correct in some way. Make sure that when you're with beginners, you have them stretch around a lot, as these first few kind of introductions to getting the violin to your neck might cause some tension and might be difficult to start with at first. A game you could play when starting children with holding the violin is kind of let them do some silly stretches around, maybe have a couple minutes where they do kind of dramatic arm movements and shoulder movements and leg movements if you're feeling silly enough. This will get them in the mood to then do some serious work, but also will limber up the muscles and make sure the violin or the body is ready to kind of get into what will initially be a stressful situation. This leads to the next important thing about holding the violin. You want to make sure that the left hand, when it's holding the violin, and the neck is not tense, as tension will restrict actual playing in the future and can create some bad habits. With the elbow, you want it to be hanging kind of inside so that it's more or less right in the middle, like right in the middle of the violin, not too outwardly or inwardly, as this can affect the fourth finger movement, but also movement in general. When holding or learning how to hold with the left hand, make sure that the students are holding the violin with their right hand so as not to kind of pay no attention and have the violin drop down. In holding the violin with the left hand, you want to use kind of this area of your index finger and more or less the tip of your thumb. What's important is that there's space in between your thumb and the neck of the violin, if you can see that, just like there, and that you're not kind of holding it or strangling the violin, because that will later cause problems in general playing and switching to different positions, but also in vibrato later on. So when you have the violin up to your neck, you're holding it like this, you want to approach the violin with the left hand, with the thumb, bent like this, no banana thumb, as it said, no thumbs up. Your thumbs up is crooked when playing the violin. And you want to have the side of the index finger just like that. And then kind of, you can make sure that these fingers are in a position where they're, and this could be a kind of a game or a silly little task for beginner children or beginners, is to see just how quickly they can wiggle their fingers around, or how quickly they can tap on the fingerboard with all their fingers, including the pinky, which might be awkward at first. You could also do that with a thumb, so make sure you can wiggle the thumb as fast as possible. It's important to make sure that the wrist is not bent, so that there's not some kind of a dramatic bending like this or a dramatic bending like this, but that it's straight with the elbow.